So, in my opinion, one of the most underutilised features in Football Manager is definitely the set piece creator. I have never really properly used it in all of my years of playing Football Manager, and talking to a lot of you guys in the comment section on YouTube and over on Twitch as well. If you want to follow me on there, link down in the description. I stream every Monday, Wednesday and Saturdays at the moment. We've been talking a lot about it, and no one seems to properly utilise the set piece features. So I've made it my mission the past couple of weeks to build the best corner routine I could ever possibly build, and I think I've done it. Over the last 2 seasons in my Aberdeen save that I've been doing here on YouTube, my centre-backs have scored 68 goals. Now, not all of them are going to come from corners, but a good majority are coming from corners. 68 goals for centre-backs. It's absolutely absurd. So let me give you a little bit of backstory into all of this. This is a guy called Caio Henrique. He is one of my favourite centre-backs I have ever used in Football Manager. We had him at the club and he was incredible until Leeds bought him for his minimum fee release clause. But look at him, 20 heading, 18 jumping reach, 6'5". He is an absolute beast from set pieces. But then we looked at how many goals he'd actually scored for the club. And the answer is not many at all. 5 in the league that season, 8 overall. 2 in the league that season, 2 overall. And then, to be fair, he played 2 games that season, so he didn't really get a chance to score goals. But considering he's got 20 heading, 18 jumping reach, really good strength as well, he should be scoring goals so much from set pieces. So when we lost him, I was going to make it my mission to find someone hopefully as good as him. Maybe not, well, we couldn't really. Look how good he is. You can't find anyone as good as him. But the aim was to find someone like him and then make them into a set piece machine. So what did I do? I got the OneFootball app out and I started scouting. The OneFootball app is the best app to keep up to date with all of the latest footballing news and stories from around the world. But you can also find in-depth player profiles on loads of players from around the world and get all of their stats. So actually, it's pretty decent for scouting. So that's what I used, went scouting and find some fantastic players. If you want to download the OneFootball app, you can do so for absolutely free from the top line of the description. Really helps me and my channel out if you could do so. The player we found is this chap, Antonio Demancic. First things first, he's a regen, as you can see, not a real player. So actually, I didn't find him on the OneFootball app, but how else was I meant to get in a seamless sponsorship integration into this video without talking about regens? You'll also notice that he is 6'7" with 20 jumping reach, only 15 heading, which may seem a little bit low, but given his height, given his jumping reach, given his strength, everything about him, he was going to be the man to score all our goals from corners. And quite frankly, as you can see, looking at his history, he got 7 goals overall in the league, but right down here, in 41 appearances, 50 if you include substitute appearances, 17 goals from centre-back. It's mental, right? And it's not just him. So Demancic was the main scorer from our centre-backs with 17 goals this season. But we also have a chap down here called Admilson who got 8 goals this season. And then we've also got another defender that we like to rotate in and out called Alexandro. He only got 3 goals this particular season. But you'll see next season how it improves. And so if we load up the save file for next season, look at those same 3 players again. Alexandro this time got 15 goals. He went up from like 3 to 15. It was a little bit bizarre. Demancic went down from 17 to 12, but that's still a very good return, whilst Admilson got 5 headers this season. But we did sign another centre-back in that summer transfer window for this season, Tigger McLumper, the 19-year-old Brazilian centre-back, and he got 8 goals, which is phenomenal. So if we look at those 4 players from this season and the 3 from the season before, in the first season with using the corner tactic that I'm about to show you, we got 28 goals. But this season, the 15, the 12, the 8 and the 5, that's 40 goals, which in 2 seasons makes a total of 68 goals. And of course, not all of them are going to be coming from corners, but a vast majority do. And I know some of you might be thinking, well, Tom, look at Antonio Demancic. He is one of the best centre-backs in the world. He's 6'7", 20 jumping reach. Of course, they're going to get plenty of goals. Well, yes, he is an absolute beast. He is a specimen, right? But Alexandro, he's only 6'2", got good jumping reach and decent heading at 14, but nothing majorly special compared to Demancic, and he got quite a few goals. If we look at Tigger McLumper, right, he's only 6 foot, 17 jumping reach, we'll give him that. His heading is only 12 though, and he got a good 8 goals this season. And then Admilson is 6 foot as well, with only 14 jumping reach and 13 heading. So he's got 13 goals overall across 2 seasons. And although they're not all from corners, right, he's still a centre-back. Like, 13 goals is mental. And to have 68 between all of them across 2 seasons, it blows my mind, right? So I will also preface this with the fact that, well, we are probably the best team in the world, right? That's why we can score 68 goals. I think the corner tactic is really solid, but it's not going to get you 68 goals. It might do, you never know, but we are the best team in the world, right? And we are playing in Scotland, who, compared to us, are not particularly good, these other teams. And as you can see, this past season, we played 38, won 37, drew 1, lost 0. All right, so we are a good team. But for me, the numbers speak for themselves. 68 goals is phenomenal, and I'm going to credit 90% of those to corners. So you've seen the player stats, you've seen how many goals they've got, you've also seen the kind of nuances that I say, like, we are a very good team in this save. But I think this corner tactic will work for a lot of you, particularly if you've got, you know, some decent jumping reach on some slightly tall players. I mean, you can see some of our players there are 6 foot. That's not especially tall, and they're still getting plenty of goals. But here it is. This is the formation. This is the tactic, and it's pretty simple, I think, really. We'll start off with the corner taker. We've got a chap called Lassie Alien taking them on the right-hand side, and his corners, as you can see, aren't actually that good. 12 is not particularly decent. The reason he's on the corner is because he's the right winger, and these are on the right-hand side of the pitch. And in terms of positioning, it just kind of makes sense if he stays in position when he takes the corners, right? You know, if suddenly the ball comes out on this side, he's in position. I don't know. It just made sense to me. He's got 12 corners. It's not great, but it doesn't matter too much in my opinion. So let's move on to the actual nitty gritty, which is what's going on inside of the box. And we'll start right here at the near post. You can see here on the player instructions, the player will look to attack the ball at the near post when the team has a corner kick. So he is in prime position to try and score goals. That's exactly what he's trying to do. And in the first season that I showed you, he did it perfectly. 17 goals, obviously not all of them from corners, right? But a lot of them from corners. He's fantastic at scoring there, and his attributes match up brilliantly. Obviously, you need someone who's going to jump high, strong in the air, very brave as well to sort of fend off the defenders around him and put his head where it's going to hurt if he misses the ball. But also heading is very important, obviously, because he's got to use his noggin to get it in the back of a net. I don't really think off the ball or finishing is particularly important. Maybe he'd score more goals if his off the ball was a lot higher. But most of the time in the box, you're just kind of standing still, particularly in the Football Manager, right? There's not a whole lot of movement on corners. So I think off the ball is kind of null and void. Finishing, I think, is only important if it comes to his feet, which it doesn't most of the time. So I think finishing is a bit null and void here. But decision making for me, I think is one of the most underrated features and attributes in Football Manager. I think you need to be looking for players with good decision making. That way, they don't make mistakes. Sounds kind of obvious, right, when you sort of put it into easy words like that, but I always look for players with good decision making because they're less likely to make a bad decision and mess the game up for you. So if you want to try and copy this formation, for me, you need to be putting your biggest player at the near post. Moving on to the next player, lurking at the near post, I've got my second biggest player, which is Alex Sandro. And again, the attributes are the exact same, actually. They're doing a very similar job, whereas Domancic is attacking. Rather than trying to attack the ball, Sandro's looking to flick it on towards the back post. But I think what happens actually instead, and the reason he's got 15 goals this season, is because Domancic will win the header, try and score a goal with it. It hits the crossbar, hits the post, gets saved by the keeper. He's right there on the near post to then just tap it in for an easy tap-in goal. So maybe his finishing should be better because he's getting these chances just sort of fed to him for free. But he's on the goal line, so again, I think finishing might be a bit null and void in this situation. But he has also scored a lot of headers as well, and you can see his headings 14, jumping reach 18. He's a very good player in the air too. Next up, we've got this guy marking the keeper in the middle of the 6-yard area. Now, he's the next biggest player in the starting lineup that's not a left back or a right back. I like to keep my fullbacks back for defensive work because it's what they're quite good at. Stops the counter-attacks and all that. So actually, the rest of my team is not particularly big, if I'm honest with you. This guy's 5'8", and his jumping reach is 8, and his heading is 8, and to be fair, who actually is it? Oh, it's Tam Lumper. Tam Lumper is a good lad. We do like him, and as you can see, he doesn't get many goals, so he's not really involved in the corner routines. If anything, for me, he is just there to try and get in the way of the keeper, to stop the keeper leaving his goal to come and stop these guys scoring. He plays an important role to just get in the way, essentially. So really, maybe I've got it slightly wrong. Maybe to be more effective from this, you do need a bigger player who weighs a lot of money, who's very strong, and is just going to stop the keeper from moving. That might be actually a better option. But I wouldn't worry about him too much. He's not very important compared to these two lads who need to be big and good at heading. But I wouldn't worry too much about the guy marking the keeper, just as long as you have someone marking the keeper. I think that's a really important thing, to just get someone in there to stop the keeper moving, to allow these guys to have a little bit more freedom to move around. Moving to the final player in the box, we've got this guy just lurking at the far post, and it's currently my left winger, just on the ground, like the right winger taking the corner, right? The left winger is here purely just because it matches his position quite nicely. If they go on a counter-attack, he's in position straight away to be on the left wing. When we take corners on the left-hand side, he takes the corners, and my right winger is the guy at the far post. He's not here for any important purpose. He's not designed to score. The only reason I've got a player at the far post is to basically just take one player from the near post and then have to have someone mark him. It just gives us more space for these guys to score goals. That is this guy's only job. It's literally all he does. He's just there to be a distraction and free up some space for our big boys here to score some headers. On the odd occasion, he does get some scrappy goals if a header hits a crossbar or is saved. He's right there and actually does some decent finishing to try and score a goal. And he does get a couple from this sort of situation, but nowhere near as many as Demancic or Alexandro or whichever other centre-back is playing in these positions. I then have two players with good finishing on the edge of the area. I think that's kind of just default, to be fair. There's no real proper decision making there. I think they were just kind of there when I made this tactic and I just sort of left them there. But again, they're just sort of good finishers on the edge of the area. It matches their positions quite nicely too, and they're there to just try and capitalise on any second ball that comes out to score a screamer or something like that. So really, it is a very simple corner routine, but as you've seen, it is lethally effective. We just have a winger putting a corner in to the near post to this guy, the biggest player on the pitch. He tries to score. If he can't score, our second biggest player has got a chance to score because he's obviously picking up the scraps, and our midfielder is marking the keeper to stop him moving around. And this guy is just there as a distraction, or if the ball does come loose, can score a goal at the far post. It just works so well, and we've scored so many goals. So that's it. Simple but effective, and it works so well for me. So well that I think this is the best corner tactic in all of Football Manager. Maybe you disagree with me. Maybe you think the 68 goals from centre-backs over 2 seasons is child's play, not enough. Maybe you guys have got better formations and tactics. I'd love to hear it. Let me know in the comment section down below. Also, whilst you're down there, make sure you do drop a like on the video for me and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. We are closing in now on 25,000 subscribers. If we can get there before the end of the month, that would be phenomenal. If you want to see this corner tactic in action, then subscribe to the channel as well. Watch the On The Rocks series. It works very well for us there. But also follow me on Twitch as well. As I say, I stream every Monday, Wednesday and Saturday at the moment. So we use that formation in that save as well. And it's going pretty well at the moment. So would love you to come along and watch that one with me as well. But until next time, have a great rest of your weekend. I will see you soon. Have a good one. Goodbye.